Ah, watching this replay, forgive me. First live show, testing this out. I don't even know if I'll leave posted. We setting up the machine to get the machine running. Jay Burger. I see the comment. I'm trying to bear with me. I'm going back and forth between the studio and the actual YouTube channel because I want to be able to see the comments in the studio. I'm using OBS Studio and I can't see the comments in here yet. It's asking me to sign in to Gmail. It ain't working. Let me try. Once we get rolling, we rolling. Guess I'll just have to, you know. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can see the comments. It kind of defeats the purpose. Can't see the chat. Anybody else in here now? Bear with me, people. Bear with me. I'm trying to work some things out. I appreciate y'all helping me figure out this process. Paul Hassan Campbell. What happened to Hassan Campbell? I just saw him. I just saw him do a video the other day. Who was he talking about? Forgot who he was talking about. I didn't watch the whole video. But what happened? What's the fall? I know he gets banned by. I need a producer. But truthfully, no. I wasn't here to discuss Hassan Campbell. Let me just, while this is going, I can't really see the chat. I'm trying. So if y'all keep leaving comments, I'll respond to what I see. But what I wanted to talk about actually was a few things. But first, off the top of my head, I don't know if y'all follow Earn Your Leisure, but Earn Your Leisure is one of the best channels on YouTube, especially as it pertains to the Black community. They share loads of useful information with regards to investing, financial education. You know, they mix it up a little bit too. They do a little bit of political content as well. But to me, from what I've seen from them, they don't tend to tell you what to think or how to think, right? But I saw this morning that they've purchased 300 acres of land in Ghana, and they are building, um I don't know if it's condos or an apartment complex, something like that, but they clearly have an understanding of where the future is. And I think that they're setting table for a lot of us, or setting the example for a lot of us to follow as far as what we should be doing with our money as time goes. They're really putting in the work to bring Marcus Garvey's vision into fruition. And I just wanted to start there because what those brothers are doing is phenomenal, and it's something that I aspire to do. My shout out to those brothers over at Earn Your Leisure, and all of the great things that they're doing to educate the community, set the proper example for the community. I think what they're doing is wonderful. Now, let's get to the bullshit. So, what I wanted to talk about was Lil Durk. I don't understand. Well, first of all, it's a sad situation that somebody who, I didn't even know that he won a Grammy, but somebody who's a Grammy award winning rapper with probably millions of dollars would involve himself in murder for hire plots and then do it sloppily at that. I don't know if y'all saw the indictment, but, well, I haven't even seen the indictment, but I saw the press release that the FBI put out, and they said that the dudes who were hired had their hotels, and I think their flights booked using a business card from Lil Durk's record label, OTF. I think the record label, Only the Family. I thought Only the Family was Shay Davis. I don't know how that became Lil Durk's thing. I didn't even know that he had some, but it's just some wild shit that even after making all of this money, and I would suppose getting out the hood, that he would still have that hood mentality that tells him to participate in this type of foolishness. And I know this is all connected to King Vaughn being killed in Atlanta. So I guess this is him showing loyalty to his friend, trying to avenge his friend's murder. But I saw the video from that night, and from what I can tell, King Vaughn set it off. And King Vaughn was in the street. I think Lil Durk was in the street too. So I just don't understand how these dudes don't get that certain things just come with it. Like, I wish I could have some street dudes come on here and explain that. Like, explain how your loyalty to the street supersedes what serves your best interest as a man. I don't know if Little Durk has children. I don't know if he has a wife, what have you. But I would like to think that somebody in their 30s, which one of the saddest parts about the whole situation is that everybody involved is in their 30s. I would like to think that once you get of a certain age that you realize certain things you just shouldn't be involved in. And murder for hire plots is one of those things, especially like these dudes were shooting at Quando Rondo and his cousin in broad daylight. Broad daylight out in Jay, Josh, where's the Beverly Center? I'm not familiar with LA enough to know whether or not the Beverly Center is a nice area. I just know when I was in LA, it was the brief time that I was there, one of the spookiest places I've ever been. Like so many, I saw so many lost souls out. But where's the Beverly Center? Like, is that an area where you would, of all of the areas out there, that you would at least expect a shooting in the middle of the afternoon? That's what I want to know. But Dirk and his crew getting jammed up is a sad example of the fact that what the guys like what people like the guys over at Earn Your Leisure are doing is, it's just a reminder that everybody really can't go. It's a sad reminder that everybody can't go. Some of us are just too far gone and can't be saved. May probably don't even want to be saved. I don't even know. Is it that hard to leave nigga shit behind? Like I find myself, I used to think Charleston White was a fucking fool. I couldn't stand Charleston White for a minute. But as time goes, it's more evident that what he's doing is he's holding up a mirror to a certain part of the black community that gains popularity off of doing shit like this. Because there's no doubt in my mind that if Dirk is, you know, found guilty, if he is guilty of the things that he's being accused of, we're probably gonna see endless free Lil Dirk posts and, hashtag free Lil Dirk, probably some t-shirts, merchandise also. And as a community, I'm just wondering, like, is that the right approach? Are we that lost? Back to back to troubleshooting. Hold on. Might be cooking with hot grease. Chat now. Cooking with grease. I bet. If you still in here, drop a 100 in the chat. Put a 100 in the chat if you think Lil Durk should have tried to get Quando Rondo killed. I gotta get the charger for my phone. It's really gonna be like some some hood nigga bootleg live shit. It's the first one, but so it's cool. But I wonder. I just saw a video a few days ago where Dirk had I think his first Muslim event. Let me see if I could pull it up. But it looked like he did a Muslim event in Chicago. And I don't know if the NOI was a part of it at all. I don't know if Minister Farrakhan, participated at all. And I don't know if Dirk recently converted. And I realized that when I was watching the video that I had never seen Muslim men with locks, but Dirk and all of the dudes around him, they all had locks. So I was looking at it like it seemed a little bit strange to me, and I'm like, is this authentic? Like, is he really converting, or I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know a lot about the dude. Like this is not my era, so I don't keep up with Lil Durk and the drill scene and all of the things that they got going on. But when I saw that he was indicted on a Fed charge, obviously that comes across everybody's radar, I think, and it's just a sad situation because this is something from the hip hop community, and it's just another case with this younger generation where they're the habit that they have of telling on themselves via their music, which is one of the reasons why I don't listen to it. My son, one of my sons, he loves King Vaughn. So off the strength of him, I went and listened to King Vaughn, and then I watched a portion of Trap Law Ross's video where he was talking about how the shit that King Vaughn was saying in the songs was shit that he was actually doing in real life. And when I was coming up, that just wasn't what rappers did. They might insinuate to something that they did, but they not on record giving you a blow by blow, like a play by play breakdown of everything that they did and how they did it and who they did it to. And it seems like that's what the drill scene is about. And that's not hip hop to me. That's some other shit. And it's something that I can't really rock with. So I never really got into Dirk's music. I couldn't tell you the name of one of his songs. Um, and I just think it's sad to see what's happening with him. It's sad to see what's happening with Young Thug. It's sad to see what happened with Casanova, and the list goes on and on and on. The fact that these dudes are that they found a way out by way of making music, and the thing that they were doing before they got to the music is what ultimately brought them down. Like it's happening to so many of our celebrities. Can any of us like really make it out and stand tall and be proud of who we are, after we get the money? Like it seemed like you gotta be a monster before you get the money in order to get the money, or you gotta get the money and turn into a monster. And like that's what the narrative is, rather. In a case like somebody like Diddy, Diddy gets the money and all of a sudden he becomes the most notorious criminal in the history of America. Now we got people thinking that he killed or he paid to have Tupac killed. People saying that he's responsible for Biggie getting killed in LA, that he knew it was going to happen, that he might have orchestrated that situation too for his own gain. It's just a sick, twisted narrative that we see over and over again that makes you question the decency of human beings across the board. All right, so I guess I'll keep running my mouth. The ironic part about me having a podcast is I'm really not a fan of talking, but I'm gonna keep it going. We got work to do. We gotta keep putting work in the streets. So got Dirk. We got Dirk engaging in hood nigga activities, despite the fact that he has enough or he has the means to leave that life behind him. Um, I don't know why there's like an obligation for these young kids to throw their life away in the name of their gang or whatever the case may be. I think that's something that we really need to examine. I don't know psychologically the damage that we might undergo on the or as we grow up, because these kids, a lot of them grow up in the street. A lot of them grow up with very limited supervision, and the streets raised them. So I guess it should be expected that they do what it is that they know, right? But it should also be expected that once you have the means to to heal, that you do so. Because I think intuitively most of us know that harming other people is wrong, especially people who look like you. So when you have millions of dollars, there should be something in you that says, you know what? Let me do something to balance out. Like even if you did dirt on your way up, there should be something in you that tells you once I get to a certain point, I'm gonna leave this life behind and I'm gonna balance out the evil with good. Because make no mistake about it, what we're seeing is evil activity. And it's not that's not a judgment thing. I'm not, I'm no one to judge anybody. But at the same time, we just gotta call shit what it is. And murder for hire plots is just dead wrong. Especially in that situation, if you look at it, the person who ended up getting killed wasn't even the person who was the intended target. So these are not even professionals. Like these are kids, playing real life GTA. That's what it looks like to me. And it's the honestly the whole situation is deeper than rap. It's really deeper than rap because in Chicago this is a culture. And it's not just Chicago, obviously, that we have a gang problem nationwide in the black community. And hip hop music has been used to popularize gang culture to the point where the kids are desensitized to it. A lot of them seem like they've just resigned themselves to the fact that this is their existence and this is what comes with it, that they are either going to kill or be killed. They're not going to live a long life. And they're cool with that. Like seeing that dude straight drop from Memphis that killed young Dolph after he's convicted, he puts up that post on Instagram talking about they could lock him up and throw away the key. He'll never eat the cheese. What your mind is warped if you think. And he's like, I'm forever the biggest. The biggest dummy. You gotta be the biggest dummy if you think that there's glory in that situation. You signed up to kill a man that's loved by countless people in that city, which is evidenced by the response that's happened since young Dolph was killed. And you think that there's some sort of glory in that. Ain't no glory in that. Ain't no glory in becoming a slave. YouTube is showing you all sorts. But ain't no glory in that. Ain't no glory in throwing your life away for a game, especially when we got so many of our men who've gone that path already, who were doing dirt in the street, ended up in prison, and will tell the majority of people who are willing to listen that when you go to prison, the people who were running around with you in the street doing all of that shit are not going to be the people who are standing by your side or supporting you when you're doing your bid, especially if you have a life sentence. You're done. Your existence. I can't even. I ain't never been to prison, so I can't even speak to the actual experience. But I can imagine that it's not something that any of us would want for ourselves or anybody that we love. So the narrative just needs to be switched. These kids need to. These kids just need guidance. They need to be taught better. We really need black men to set the examples again and snatch some of these kids up early and show them the potential that they have. Like I don't know how much I don't have all of the answers, but I just know the story is old and tired at this point. I know that we've seen it enough to know that we should know better and we should want better and we should be doing better by this point. And it's up to the older generation to pour into the younger generation and just help these kids, man. I don't even know what more can be said that hasn't already been said. It's easy to do a bunch of talking, but it's the work. Like what is the work that needs to be done and who's responsible for doing it? I think these are some of the things that have to be identified. We as a community tend to give our power away to everybody else. We want to give it to politicians, we want to give it to celebrities, but on the ground level, what 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 responsibility do we have to each other as a community? What responsibility do we have when we see children that are headed down the wrong path to, snatch some of them up and try to redirect their attention, redirect their energy, and teach them the power that their attention has? Because they're just doing what they're exposed to in the streets. Like anything that involves somebody doing something that they wouldn't do if they knew better, you you can almost guarantee that the people are involved in it, in that thing, from a young age, you know, and not even nefarious things. It's not exclusive to things that are bad for you. It's also, things that are sometimes well meant, things like religion. I remember a church that I used to go to. The pastor at the church said one time, we got to get to the kids while they're young, because when they get older and they start asking questions, they're going to ask questions that we can't necessarily answer, and we're in the age of information now. So we have to answer the question in a manner that's satisfactory to them. And if we don't, then they're going to go another way. And that statement spoke volumes to me because it shows that you have to get to people while they are impressionable. And that's something that gang culture has mastered in America. Across the board, when you listen to these people who grew up as gang members, the majority of them have been gang members from the time that they were teens, and in some cases preteens. Some of them say that they were born into it. Their big brother or their father or their mother or somebody in their family was a member, so they were automatically down with the set from the time that they came home from the hospital. And if that's the existence that then it should be expected that you conduct yourself as such, it should be expected that the things that you do are a reflection of that being your existence, of that being what you know. And the remedy for that, I believe, is for people in the community to be intentional about redirecting the attention of these children towards more positive things, more constructive things. But I don't know how we get to that point if we have communities with a dense population of people with limiting beliefs, with a dense population of people who don't see the greatness in themselves, who don't see what's good about themselves. And that's something that I think many of us who come from the hood, I think we see it often. We see it often. And the work needs to be done to redirect that attention and educate us actually. We just need to be better educated. And I know a lot of us lean on the Bible, which is, I think, great. I think the Bible has all of the tools that we really need in order to set our mind right. But the message in the Bible has been tainted by the church and the image of the church and the deeds of the people that are in the church. And I don't know if that discussion is had enough. I think like the pastor that I was just talking about, what he was speaking on was the fact that younger people, they have questions and doubts about the validity of the message of church because of the deeds of the people in church, because the people are not perfect, they're far from it, but oftentimes the way that they talk to people is like they're talking at people, like they're talking to them from a place of judgment, like a place of like they're better, when we all got struggles. It's just that some people are better at keeping their struggles in the dark, while others, they don't live that way. And a lot of young people don't live that way, especially nowadays. Everything is on social media. There's people putting all sorts of dirt in their own personal lives out for the world to see without a care. So the approach just needs to be different. And I don't know how we figure that out, but I do know that it needs to be figured out. So I'm gonna stop rambling and preaching about that because that just is what it is. We're gonna get back to talking about Dirk as these things go. We'll see whether or not he's offered a plea deal. We'll see just how much evidence they have against him and what the overall outcome is and whether or not this changes anything in that gang culture. Like seeing people get all the way to the top and winning Grammys and things like that just to be brought right back down to slavery. That should be very, very eye opening, even for the young ones. And hopefully Dirk is transparent about this experience. Hopefully he uses this experience to teach the young ones that gang shit really ain't worth it. You could go do something else. Be better than me. So on to the next. This situation with Diddy. I saw maybe 3 days ago that his children had put out a statement, you know, and they're supporting him. They're saying that they believe that their dad is innocent, which I would expect. We all should expect that children would support their parent in a situation like this, because regardless of how the world might view him right now, that's not who he is to his children. Like, regardless of the fact that he's been proven to be an abusive man towards women, we saw what he did to Cassie on camera. That doesn't mean that that's who he is to his children. So I would expect that they would defend him. Um, but it's another sad situation because, again, it's a reflection of how corrupt people can be once they gain status and money and power. Like one of my favorite quotes that I've heard from this situation is power corrupts, absolute power corrupts absolutely. And when you read the indictment towards Diddy, it doesn't seem like they have a whole lot. I didn't read the lawsuits against him, but in the indictment for the federal charge, the whole thing seems to stem around these freak offs and his relationship with Cassie. I don't know what other evidence may come out at trial, but just off of the indictment, if that's what they're basing this off of, I think the case is pretty weak because Cassie was an adult at that time. Now, granted, she was an employee of his. I guess you can call it that. I don't know how things really work in the music industry with her being an artist and him being an executive. Uh, I guess it could be viewed as him working for her because he's supposed to do what's in her best interest, right? But he had control over her career. He had control over whether or not she was able to put out music, who her music was able to reach, and so on and so forth. So there was leverage that he held over her to be able to get her to do things that maybe she didn't want to do. But at the same time, they were in a relationship. So in the court of law, I don't think it's far fetched to say that his attorneys may be able to prove that they were just acting as consenting adults and this is the type of thing that they were into. They were into freaky shit. There's a lot of people that's into freaky shit. Some of those people may be on the jury. So if their whole case is based off of these freak offs and based off of the fact that the two of them like to pay prostitutes and other people or engage in sexual activities with other people, then I think the case is relatively weak. Now, the tapes, the things that they might have had on tape, I think that's where things get dicey because of the people, obviously, the people who he was around. You don't know what he got these people on camera doing, and you don't know what might come out at trial. So, all of the people who have been silent this whole time, they might find out that they have to respond to something that's revealed in court involving them, which still doesn't prove anything with relation to Diddy's guilt. He's being charged with trafficking. And it's a federal case, so it's easy for people to say, "Oh, the feds have a 90 something percent conviction rate. Diddy is done." That's true. But what's also true is that the majority of people who are charged by the feds end up taking a plea. They don't go to trial. Diddy's not taking a plea. It doesn't seem like he's even considering taking a plea, and I don't even know if they've offered him a plea. So that means they're gonna have to show their hand, and this could get, or it will get very very interesting. And I'm curious also as to whether or not people will be subpoenaed, like the people who are revealed in these tapes, whether or not they're going to be subpoenaed, what what level of authority and influence they hold. I know that he knew politicians. I know he was running with TD Jakes. Obviously, him and Jay-Z are tight. He said that Jay-Z and his mother are the only people in the world who can call him Sean. So I'm curious to see just how close these people were. There's a rumor floating around from an attorney of one of his alleged victims who said she saw a screenshot of Diddy engaged in sexual activity with a female entertainer who was bigger than him, who was a bigger name than him. And obviously that is a very short list. So we can speculate on who those names might be. I know I have my thoughts, and I think I don't like to speculate in that fashion because it's I think it's wasteful. It's a wasteful use of energy, but I'm gonna do it anyway because it can only be you got the obvious. You got Beyonce. You got who else is a bigger name than him? I guess you could kind of throw is J Lo still a bigger name? I don't even know if J Lo is a bigger name than Diddy. Um, like I don't think what's her name? The chick that's the white girl. What's the white girl's name with the SpongeBob SquarePants body? Uh, what's her name? I don't know. I don't even know her name. I know her boyfriend is Travis Kelsey from the Kansas City Chiefs. I don't know her name, but I think she's bigger than Diddy also. But I don't know if she's ever been at a Diddy party. So how many celebrity women who have been to Diddy parties are of bigger status than him? It's a very short list. So if what this woman is saying is true, then this might be something that is revealed at trial, which if it is Beyonce, then it makes me even more curious to know if that has something to do with her endorsing Kamala Harris. And I know she said that she was endorsing Kamala as a mother, not as a celebrity. But I find it difficult to believe that because Kamala's whole agenda has just been reproductive rights, which is abortion, which that seems like it's like oxymoronish to me. It's the right to end a life. Reproduce means to create, right? Like to replicate, right? But this involves the ending of life. That's what the argument is. And the ending of life for us as a people, us being the black community, I think is counterproductive to our overall plight, which is why we're actively being replaced by migrants. They're actively replacing us. They're bringing these people in. They're sending them to a lot of towns that we live in, and then they're sending them to other towns that are in like battleground states, so that they can eventually, once these people become citizens and remember who laid the table out for them and who set the play, these people, it's going to be obvious who they decide to vote for, and our our voting power at that time will become less significant. We will effectively have been replaced. So it's difficult for me to believe that people who have the time and the means and the resources of somebody like Beyonce would endorse somebody who, first of all, Kamala's a career prosecutor. I find it difficult to believe that anybody who's a career prosecutor has a conscience, because you to be a career prosecutor, I believe that you have to be willing to send people to prison for something that they either didn't do, or you have to be willing to send people to prison for things that really shouldn't be punishable by way of going to jail. Like it requires you to set your morals and values aside in order to assist the system in the criminalization of people. And this is something that she made a career out of. And I found it ironic, or not ironic, but when she did the interview with Charlemagne, which I didn't finish, but I saw where he asked her about the fact that she never goes off script. Everything that she says is according to the script. So when you watch her enough, you can almost finish her sentences because you know what she's gonna say, because she says the same thing repeatedly. And her response to that question was, "You're welcome," because it requires discipline in order for her to do that, which is true. And I think that that's something that a lot of us can learn from, because it does require discipline. But what it also requires is for you to put on a show, for you not to be authentic. And there have been so many things that I've heard from her that have shown that she's not authentic. Everything from saying that she was in college smoking weed and listening to Tupac when Tupac was like 10 years old when she was in college. So we know that's a lie. To her saying that she had to make so many collard greens that she had to put them in the bathtub. And then when they asked her for the recipe, she said she used bacon. All my life as a Negro, I've never seen a black person use bacon to make collard greens. Never. Never even heard of it. So there's so many things that she said and done that makes me question the authenticity that is Kamala Harris. And then on top of that, I really just don't appreciate the things that she promotes to our people. Even down to now that she saw fit to have an agenda for black men, but to include on that the legalization of recreational marijuana as if that's one of our highest priorities, it's a slap in the face to me. And I would like to think that somebody like Beyonce, who grew up in a two-parent household, who is a married woman raising children as a mother, I would like to think that something that would be a priority to her would be having a strong nuclear family for the black community. I would like to think that something that's important to her as a mother to a black son, because I know at least one of her children is a boy, would be making sure that the country itself is invested into his best interest as a man, and what it will require for him to lead a family one day. And that's not something that Kamala Harris is about. And I know we can all spend time pointing at the other side. We can talk about Trump and how he's racist and how he's a fascist and all of these things. He's a convicted felon. All of these things, right? It's easy to do that because he's a very polarizing figure. 'Cause he doesn't play the game. He's not a conventional politician. He's a nationalist. It can be argued that he's a white nationalist. But the truth of the matter is, most of us as black people, or not, let me not say most of us, but a lot of us as black people, we ain't scared of that. We've dealt with Trumps for 400 years. We know how to deal with that. What we're unclear on is how to deal with somebody who's telling us that they're for us while they do things that are clearly not in our best interest. That's where things get confusing. So I get the fact that everybody is rallying around Kamala out of fear for what Trump may do. However, I think that if we focus more so on what we need to do and what serves our best interest as a community, it'll make us less fearful of anything that Trump, because there's nothing he can do to us that hasn't already been done. And we've already shown that we have the resilience, we have the ability to survive anything that they throw at us. It's just a matter of how well we work together and what is the vision that we have for our collective future and how much time we spend discussing these things. Because giving our power over to people like Kamala, to people like the Obamas, I don't think that serves our best interest. These people are seasoned politicians. These people have worked in the legal system and have been groomed to do what it is that they're doing. And they play on our minds, they play on our fears, they play on our ignorance. And they do it to keep themselves in power so that they can decide who gets what resources. I'm not really for that. I'm not really for all of this government involvement in our everyday lives. I think that we need to do a better job of leaning on each other as a community. And I'm going to end my rant before I keep it going any further. This is the first live. I'm an hour in. I ran it for most of it. We got more to come. I'm out of here. Peace.